We've all seen those memes where the avocados go bad like 1 minute after they turn ripe per se. I know they have a bad reputation, but in this video, I'm gonna share 3 ways that you can check or test an avocado to make sure that it is ripe, whether you're buying it right from the store or you're buying it on the extra green side to ripen and be ready a couple of days later. We're gonna go over that. I'm also gonna show you how to cut an avocado, a couple different ways to do that, as well as how to make homemade guacamole. So let's get to it. When it comes to choosing a ripe avocado, there's 3 things that we can do to check to see if it is going to be ripe and ready to cut right now. The first is the color. You're gonna wanna look for something that's a little bit on the darker green side. A bright green avocado is days away from being ripe. A semi lighter green and dark is maybe a day or 2 away. And then this is a great color. This kind of dark, I want to say a brown green. We'll call it brown green. That's the first way, is the color. The second way is to give it a little squeeze. If you give it a little squeeze, it'll give slightly. If it gives too much, it might be bruised and browning on the inside. We don't want to do that. So just a slight squeeze means it's going to be soft on the inside. The final test is to see if the little stem part can be removed really easily. While I'm talking, I was able to remove this one with just my thumb, holding it somewhat awkwardly. I would probably, in most cases, use both hands. These are all ripe. And then there's gonna be kind of a bright green color under the stem. So that's what you wanna look for. You don't have to remove them, all of them, but, oh, looks like I already did. But that's another way. So the color being this green brown. The second one is there's a little bit of softness and give to them. And the third is that the little stem piece comes off really easily and there's this little green color underneath. Now let's get into how to cut your avocados. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is how to safely get the seed out. I've actually seen many people do this very incorrectly, and it could end up leading to a trip to urgent care or the ER even. So I start with my knife at the point of the stem, and I'm just gonna cut in all the way around. I usually just twist. I can feel the seed with the knife inside there, and then you're just gonna twist and open that up, okay? Do not do this. Do not stab. Do not do that. You will literally, the force of you hitting the seed, and then if it slips, I don't mean to pull this out. If it slips, you will stab yourself. That is a terrible idea. Do not do that. Instead, you're gonna wanna hack it this way. And a ripe avocado, the seed will come out really easily. So all you're gonna do is, it's almost like a little machete chop right onto the seed and then twist it out. And then from here, you can just pop it off. I usually just pop this off right into my trash can. And then you have your, look at how beautifully ripe that is. Perfectly ripe avocado ready for cutting or mashing for your guacamole. From here, there are 2 ways that you can work with your avocado. I'm gonna show you the beginner way. If you're younger or you're newer with your knife and working in the kitchen, do it this way. I'll show you another way that I do it here in a minute, because that's actually how I learned to do it. So the first thing you're gonna do is scoop as close to the shell from the bottom and then scoop up towards the top. This is just a regular spoon. You should be able to get most of it out of there, okay? And then I usually flip it over. So this one's pretty ripe, so I've lost a little bit, but that's okay. I'll just keep this all together right here. So we'll do the same thing with the other side. If it's too ripe and you see brown spots, you can just cut those away after you've pulled the avocado flesh out of there. Okay, so from here, then you can cut slices. So I'm gonna slice this one to show you. So slices you would wanna use, you know, as a garnish. Be very careful because it's slick, okay? You can tell I don't cut it this way very often because I do it the other way. And then the other option would be chunks. And so that would be, you know, for a salad or something like that. You could then cut it into chunks that way. Of course, we can dump all of this into a bowl, which we will do in a minute. for guacamole, and then we're gonna mash that up that way. So that's the beginner way. Now I wanna show you a little bit more advanced way that does require a lot of caution, okay? Just know you need to be very handy with your knife. Okay, so let me get the seed out. So I actually cut it in my hand in the shell like this. So I can use a chef's knife. You can also use a smaller paring knife, especially if it's your first time doing it. A paring knife will give you, the smaller knife will give you a little bit more control. So I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing I just did, except backwards. So we're gonna slice this one. I like doing this because I can see the slices better. The knife doesn't even go through the skin. You just kind of give it a little rocking motion. There's no cuts here. Again, if you're experienced, do this. And then once that's done, then you can pull them out with your spoon and you have the slices already sliced that way. Okay, I'm gonna show you with this one. I'm gonna end up mashing all of this, but I'm just showing you how to do it. And then for chunks, I do the same thing, just a little bit wider. I'll probably do 3 slices this way and then just rotate it. I can feel the tip of the knife with my finger there, but it's not cutting through the skin. This is very gentle, especially if the avocado is ripe, it will cut through really easily. And then there I have my chunks, and you just give it a little, oh, that one just popped right out. Give it a little wiggle, use your spoon, and scoop out those chunks for your salad. This is my favorite way to do avocado for a salad. Look at those beautiful chunks right there. One last thing I want to show you before we get to the guacamole is mashing the avocado inside the skin. So this is a fun little trick if you don't want to kind of make this big mess, or even if you, I'll show you, if you want to make your own guacamole inside the shell, you can do that. All you're going to do is just mash this up really well. It will aerate itself. You can see there. You could also give it a little pop just to get some of the air out. The juice is coming out of the stem. So once you have done this and it's all mashed inside, you can then cut the skin open and remove the seed. It's a little bit trickier. It's an option. I'm just sharing it as an option. The seed will come out really easily. From here, a little lemon juice, a little lime juice, a little salt, maybe a little garlic. You could just eat little scoops of avocado just like that. You've already mashed it up. This works really well if it's nice and ripe and there's no soft spots on it. Like, let's see, none of these have a soft spot. Sometimes there'll be a soft spot that's really, really soft. That means that that part's probably browned and you wouldn't want to eat that. But I could tell all of these are gonna be just nice and green and perfect for sort of this mash in the shells. Just eat it right out of the shell, right? Like a little lemon, it's perfect, right? So that's just an idea if you want a little party trick there. Okay, now that we've gone over how to choose a ripe avocado, I've shown you a couple different ways to cut them. Let's get to making a delicious homemade guacamole. Okay, I'm gonna transfer this beautiful mess of avocado to this mixing bowl over here. Just the ones I've already cut, and then I'll just cut the other one, or mix, then I'll cut the other ones up real quick. I mean, these are sliced and diced, but I'm still gonna mash it all up together here. So let me just get all of this transferred in here, and then we'll get our other ingredients ready to go. Maybe this is gonna be my lunch, just a straight up avocado. I'm gonna clean this up a little because we are gonna cut a few other veggies to go with this. Let's get you out of there. I'm actually gonna save this one because it looks like it has another day or two, and I'm gonna put it in the fridge. Putting it in the fridge will help it last a little bit longer when, as far as it getting too ripe too quickly. So definitely use the fridge to help you from things getting overripe. You can also just pull it off like I did there. So we're just gonna scoop directly out into our bowl. This looks amazing. Again, we're gonna just scoop out into the bowl and then get that mashed up. I usually just use a fork You could use a spoon, I suppose. It depends on how chunky you want it, but get it to the chunkiness level that you want it, and then we'll add the other ingredients. All right, I grabbed the other mix-ins, and this is where you can make it your own. Do you like it extra limey? Do you like it with lemon juice instead of lime juice? Do you like it with extra salt? Again, make it work for you. I like a little bit of chunkiness in there, but these avocados were just so perfectly ripe that it's gonna be pretty smooth. Okay, so I love this consistency, pretty smooth, a little bit chunky, no brown spots. Yes, let's go. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is add in a couple of other ingredients. I'm gonna chop up some cilantro, chop up this Roma tomato. You could use a small regular tomato as well. I just like the size of this. I think it's perfect for a nice small bowl of guacamole. A little lime, a little salt, and probably a little garlic powder. I would usually add minced garlic, but I just am out of that. So let's get to chopping this, and then we'll mix it all together. I'm gonna start with the limes. I'm just gonna open them up. Another thing, if you're not sure about the limes, sometimes they're not that juicy. What you can do is kind of break up the pulp before you cut it. Just give it a good, I can smell that, it's very fragrant. Give it a good roll, and then we'll cut that. And then this one's actually pretty soft. I'm not gonna roll that one out. Limes can be very finicky. Rolling it helps like loosen the juices out of the pulp, so you can get more lime juice out of there. Okay, I'm actually going to only use a little bit of this red onion, just cutting around the stem of this aroma. I do not want that. The seeds and juices are fine. It just adds a little extra flavor. I'm just cutting it into little bits. We don't want these pieces to be too big because we want to be able to get a little bit of tomato in with kind of each bite or two, every other bite or so of our, get that piece out of there. He'll be too tough to bite. Okay, so that's that. Let's do a little, I'm just gonna take a little bit of cilantro, just a little, small little pile. I'm just gonna run my knife through that, pull out any stems, if you will. Of course, if you have the cilantro soap gene, skip this part. You could also add a little coriander or cumin in its place. If you have those in your spice cabinet, I do not want your guacamole to taste soapy. That would be very sad. Okay. And then last but not least, a little bit of this red onion. Maybe I'll cut the whole thing and then save the rest for another day or another meal. My favorite way to cut an onion is to lop off both ends, peel off the papery layer, and then chop from there. So I want these pieces to be itty bitty. So I'm gonna make really thin slices this way. I'm gonna save this one for later. I'm gonna do really, really thin slices. I might get 8 or 10 cuts here. And then I'll slice the other direction to get these red onion pieces as small as possible. Okay, that'll be the last cut. Give it a twist and then do the same thing. Look at how little bitty those pieces are. That's perfection. Sometimes the ends don't want to cut down, but just squeeze it tight. Of course, keep your knuckles down to keep, yeah, these softer, that outer ring didn't want to cut. I can still cut that down. Easy peasy. Okay. This is probably actually too much, so I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save this with the rest of it. So there we have it. Look at this beautiful, fresh pile of mix-ins for our guacamole. So I'm gonna start with a little salt and lime. Whenever I'm salting a dish like this, I usually just do one thin layer over the entire top of the bowl, and then you can add more later, okay? The limes, let me see if I can center this a little better. I don't see any seeds, but just in case there's one hiding in there, I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze facing up and then let the juice fall in to, if you have a little citrus juicer deal. I don't have one. I used to have one a long time ago and I just didn't use it enough. So it ended up not making it through our house flood a couple years ago. It was one of the things that got sent away, given away. Okay, no seeds in that one. That was a lot. I might do one more of these and then I'll save those for some water or something later today. It smells so good. It smells like, it's almost like this has like, it's giving me key lime vibes. Is that a thing I'm allowed to say? My kids would be like, cringe, mom. Okay, I think that's gonna be perfect like that. Just mix that lime in there. And then from here, we're just gonna add cilantro, all of this tomato, and a lot of this onion. I don't think I'm gonna add all of the onion. I'll just save that for later. All right, I'm gonna mix that. Remember, this is the one I'm saving because it's not quite right. Okay, let me mix all of this together. One last homemade guacamole tip. We added a little salt at the beginning. This would be where I would add salt again, but I'm not gonna do that until I taste it with a chip because the chips have salt on them as well. And I don't want over salty guacamole. That's gonna be a pass for me. So give it a taste with the chip and then decide if it needs a little bit more lime or a little bit more salt. I don't think it needs more salt, but of course add in salt according to your taste preferences. Okay, one more bite and then we're gonna do a recap. There you have it, how to choose a ripe avocado, a couple different ways to cut an avocado depending on how you're gonna use it, and a homemade guacamole recipe. The recipe is linked in the description below, so be sure to save or print that out from the $5 Dinners blog. I'll try to get the perfect bite with like a little bit of tomato and onion and cilantro, like all in one bite. Let's see what we can get out. Okay, here's tomato, cilantro. I need some red onion. There's one. This is magic on a tortilla shell. So good. All right, I've got to go eat a little bit more of this. This is definitely going to be a huge part of my lunch today. For now, if this video was helpful, you learned something new, please like the video, also subscribe and hit that bell, or as my kids would say, smash that bell to get notified when we release new videos. All right, it's bye for now, and we'll see you soon.